All right. Should we do this thing?
Yes, let's do it.
Okay.
And I am starting us off this week.
That's what I thought.
It's true. I lost my notebook. I didn't lose it. I brought it to a conference and it's still in my conference bag.
Okay.
So I don't have it today. And I was like, oh no.
Briefly terrified. I was like, and then you're like, I went to a conference and.
Yeah, it's in my bag.
I'm leaning forward.
It's in my bag. I didn't take it out and I didn't realize that's what happened. Because usually it's just in my car ready for, but.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, Here we are. Having another episode of Why Did You Read That?
The podcast.
And before we get started talking about the books, which is why everyone's here, I got a joke for you.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes.
A clumsy paleontologist walked on stage holding a dinosaur skull.
Okay.
What happened next is jaw-dropping.
Oh. I can't decide if I like or dislike these sort of non-participatory jokes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's like, I don't know. I can't I'll have to think about it.
All right.
Sometimes I like them because if it's a joke I end up not liking and it is participatory, I feel like complicit in the joke. But if it's one that just kind of goes like that, then I'm like, there's nothing I could do.
It just happened to you.
It happened, yeah. I was in the room where the joke happened, and that's the extent of my responsibility.
Well, I thought it was good.
It is good.
Thank you.
It is a good joke. I got a little lost in the weeds of deciding about joke structures.
No, it's a legitimate question.
Yeah.
But in the end, I have to bring a lot of jokes.
Yeah.
We've been doing this for a while now.
Yeah.
And so, got to mix it up.
Got to bring variety.
That's right. All right. Are you ready to hear about my books?
Yes.
All right. This week I have brought Tales from the Cafe by Toshikazu Kawaguchi.
I should be writing this down.
All right. I'll wait for you to get your pen out.
Tales from the Cafe.
Which is the sequel to another book that I've talked about here called Before the Coffee Gets Cold.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it's a sequel.
All right.
I also have...
Was that like a time travel thing?
Yeah.
Kind of.
Like a time slippy.
Not like a hardcore sci-fi time travel.
No, definitely not.
Emotional.
It is part of a new trend in fiction, which I have heard referred to as healing fiction.
Yeah.
So it's like super cozy kind of books aimed at, either catharsis or comfort or something like that.
What was that other one you talked about? Kanagawa, Food Detective?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Yep. A lot of Japanese books fit in this healing fiction category, for sure.
Interesting. Okay.
All right. I also have Mastering the Art of French Eating by Anne Ma. This is a memoir by a woman who married an American diplomat, and they got assigned to their dream post in Paris. And when they arrived, they found out that her husband was going to be reassigned to Baghdad, where she could not go. So she ended up living in Paris by herself for a year while he served in Baghdad, which was a challenge to be separated and living in a foreign country that you didn't know. So,
that would be pretty dope if you were like married to a diplomat and they're like, well, I find out which country I'm going to today, and then you're like, this could go a lot of ways. And then they're like, Paris. Well, I guess that's a city, but I'm going to Paris. And you're like, that's awesome.
Yeah. Well, I guess you get to make a list of places that you'd like to go, or that, a lot of them are multilingual.
Oh, sure.
And she speaks Mandarin, so they had served in Beijing. And he's fluent in French, so I think that probably...
That would certainly help.
Yeah, although I guess Paris is one of those posts that everybody wants.
I would think so,
it's in high demand. Anyway.
It seems like one of those places. It's in that list of if people are going to, it's name 5 European cities that you'd like to see someday.
Yeah.
I think Paris is going to be in there for most people.
I think so. All right. I also have Ghost Business by Jen DeLuca.
I don't know why that title. It's funny, but it is.
It is a romance novel. It's a sequel to another romance novel I talked about here, but I don't remember the title of it. But it's the one in the haunted town, Boneyard Key, Florida.
Yes.
And this is about like competing ghost tour businesses
Oh, that's awesome.
in Boneyard Key.
I'm hoping like one is like a super cheesy one, and the other one is a little bit more historical. And how will these
jumping
two?
the gun. Okay. And then my last book, which I have to confess I'm not done with, but I'm like approaching halfway, The Lighthouse at the Edge of the World by J.R. Dawson, which is, it's like a fantasy where it takes place in Chicago, and there is a lighthouse on the banks of Lake Michigan that I guess it's real, but also not real. Like the light protects the souls of the dead, and they come to the station and get ferried to the Vale, where they pass on to like the next world.
Okay.
And they're like haunts people who have been like affected by like a demon that lives in the city that caused the Chicago fire. And so the light of the lighthouse protects the souls, and the light is failing, and there's this human woman looking for her sister anyway, it's a whole thing. So that's what I have.
I feel like there are residents of Chicago who would be apt to believe, like in the dead of winter, they'd be apt to believe like, this may be the entrance to hell. Like, and it's possible.
I have heard stories about winters in Chicago.
Yeah.
I have family who used to live there, and I gather that like, so I've been told having like a puffy jacket that goes to your ankles and like buttons up the entire way.
Yeah.
With like hats, gloves, scarves, and it's still like you're not wearing anything.
Yeah, it still sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's those tough winter places where you're like, well, a snow fell in September and I'm still looking at the same snow.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I hate it. I want to hear
those
about
lakes, man.
Yeah. I want to hear about ghost business.
Ghost business.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have Sophie, and she is a Boneyard Key native. Like she grew up there.
Okay.
And she developed her ghost tour based around the history of the place. Because it is like, I don't know if you remember from the previous book, but it is an actual haunted town. Like there are actually ghosts, and natives, people from the founding families, can interact with those ghosts.
Okay.
So like the previous book, the cafe owner, he would get text messages from the previous owner of his cafe and like talking about how he messed up the banana bread and stuff like that.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, everything about this is entertaining to me because
Yeah.
the idea of getting a text from a ghost.
Yeah. It's a good time.
I don't like getting texts from alive people and having to expand to getting texts from ghosts too. I'd be like, oh, come on.
Yeah. So she prides herself on like doing this historically accurate tour that shows like all of the major locations in the town, and she basically just like puts a sign-up sheet in the cafe, and tourists like sign up and they start there, and she walks them through the town and tells them all about the history of the town and the different ghosts and all of that. And they don't necessarily believe her, although everything that she is imparting is true. And so then there's this other guy, Tristan, and he graduated from business school. He doesn't like his passion was for acting, but he has like this very successful businessman father who would only pay for his college if he did something like business. Yeah, something practical. Yeah. So he got his business degree, and he started a ghost tour business where they like franchise it through different cities, and they have like basically the same tour for every place or the same stories. So they'll take him to this place, and this would be a good spot to tell this story that we always tell, Yep. But so it's basically like a rubber stamp tour in a bunch of different cities.
I see.
And it's very, like you say, it's theatrical. They have somebody with a top hat and a lantern, and they like,
Yeah.
And he has 10 years to make this a profitable business, and his father will like pay for his schooling and like give him his blessing to move on and like live his life. If he doesn't turn a profit, he has to join his father's company and like work in corporate America.
Ew. Okay.
Yeah. So
it's high stakes.
Yeah. So business guy finds out about this town in Florida, Boneyard Key, that's supposed to be haunted. And he does a bunch of research, doesn't see any evidence of a ghost tour already there. Even though there is one, she doesn't have a website or anything.
Oh, because it's just kind of a casual.
Right. She just has like a sign-up sheet in the cafe. Right. And so he's like, perfect. This sounds like the perfect place for me to do my thing. And so he sets up his own ghost tour in this town. And before he does his first tour, he happens to run into Sophie at the local like bar where they also do like seafood dinners and stuff. And they hit it off. He actually really likes her, and she thinks that he's, fun. But then they cross paths that night doing their different ghost tours.
I picture he's like in skull makeup. And
I mean, you're not far wrong. And she overhears like his stories, and they stop and tell a story in front of this one house where her friend lives, and there's a woman ghost who also lives there. And it was the previous book. For the longest time, they had her story wrong. And he's telling some made-up story about how, like, a pirate, lived there or whatever. And it's making the actual ghost really mad. Mm-hmm. And so, there are all these fun stories. They end up in competition, and they make a bet with each other. Like, whoever can, like, get the most customers over the course of the summer will win the town, and the other one has to leave. So, I don't know. It's not that deep. It's not super serious. Sure. Although I think that the author did a really nice job of giving them both stakes, she loves this town. She wants the history of this town to be told.
Wants to do right by the ghosts.
Yeah. And also this is something she really loves doing and cares about. And also you get his perspective. He doesn't want to have a soulless business job.
Yeah.
He wants to do this fun, theatrical, whatever. And finding a way through that for both of them is fraught a little bit. And it makes for a fun, how are they going to work this out kind of a.
I feel, because that's a hard question of because I'm trying to imagine which tour I would rather be on.
Yeah.
And it really depends on the day.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I'm well, I think the accurate one would probably be more interesting. Mm-hmm. But then sometimes I'm I don't know, man, the other one sounds pretty goofy.
Yeah.
There's this writer, Chuck Klosterman, who wrote all these hypothetical questions.
Chuck Klosterman, who is he? This writer?
Yeah.
This one guy?
This guy I talk about all the time. My wife is always whenever Chuck Klosterman appears on a podcast, she's so are you going to just tell me everything that... one of the hypotheticals he wrote was basically okay, what if you went to a venue and it has two separate stages for bands, and it's two metal bands show up, and both stages are going to be metal bands. And the one thing this club does that's a little weird is they give them sort of an IQ test. It's not like a normal IQ test, but kind of a cognitive /IQ, how smart are they test. Mm-hmm. And you can either go see the band that did amazing, has scored higher than anyone has ever scored on the test, or the band that has the record low test. Now, it is possible that the record low test, that they were not taking it super seriously, but there's a serious divide here.
And you can't know anything about their music.
You know nothing about them sonically. You just know that's the one thing you know to make your decision.
This is a drunk person conversation.
Yeah. Pretty much. Yeah. No, that sounds great. I like that they laid in there too, how it works out so that he didn't know.
Right.
That, he tried. He tried.
He did his due diligence.
And then
he didn't want to step on any toes.
Exactly. Because that solves for me when I think of You've Got Mail.
Yeah, I struggle with that too.
Yeah. Because I'm the problem with You Got Mail is that you're
he knew she was there. He knew he would put her out of business.
Although then when you watch You've Got Mail and because I saw it for the first time in 2023.
Yeah.
And I'm actually all of these people are out of business. So it doesn't even matter anymore.
Yeah. But I know that is something that I always struggled with that movie. Yeah. I still love that movie, but I was always but
yeah,
you knew you were going to put her out of business. You knew that all these little stores were going to go out of business.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of a problem.
Yeah.
And so that solves that problem.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Clever.
It's a fun book. It's a fun series, especially for spooky season.
Yeah.
If you want to participate in spooky season, but you don't like scary,
Right.
this is the exact right note because it has like all the trappings of spooky, but it's not scary.
Okay.
These are friendly ghosts.
I like it. All right. I've got my books.
I'm ready.
I did something a little different because I've been in a little bit of a reading slump. I had a busy month.
Yeah.
I'm
Summer.
driving. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
happens.
I'm driving a new car. I had to get a new car after 17 years.
Exciting and also horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sucks and is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been very busy and haven't been reading a ton.
Yeah.
So I decided that my half of this show is going to be, instead of why did you read that, why should I read that?
Ooh.
So I brought 4 books from my home library that I've not read,
Okay.
all for spooky season, and I want help deciding which I should read next.
All right. How are you going to talk to me about these books?
I know a little bit about
Okay.
most of them.
And are you
I
gonna
was
tell me
also
about,
going to
like-
tell you about why I'm thinking
Okay.
of maybe that one.
All right,
But
all right.
also why I'm thinking of maybe not that one.
As a former reader's advisory librarian
Yeah.
who still likes to dabble, I am down for
This
this.
is a challenge.
This is a fun game for me.
All right. The first one is from the Bone Chillers series, and it's called Beware the Shopping Mall.
All right. And for those of you who do not have the benefit of seeing this book, it is a 1,000% Goosebumps knockoff.
I call them bump offs because it's got the purple and sort of slime green that you would expect of a Goosebumps book. And there are many series. I read a big stack of them last Halloween-ish.
Yeah.
There's like, you can tell a lot of publishers were like, oh my God, Scholastic's making $1 billion off these Goosebumps books. Not to
Hop
mention
on the coattails.
yeah. And I'm like, I think something they always ignored with Goosebumps is that R.L. Stine literally wrote about a book a week for
Yeah.
like 10 years. I mean, so there was so much output. Anyway, yeah, it's a knockoff. It's about a shopping mall grand opening.
All right. All right.
All sales are final.
Well, all right.
Next one is a book called Pen Pal by a person named Dathan Auerbach.
I am familiar with this in a very vague way.
I believe Dathan Auerbach also wrote a book called Bad Man, I think it was called.
Yeah, black book with like a USB on it, or not a USB, like a UPC.
Maybe. There probably is a version like that.
Okay.
It has the one I read, I think, has like a shopping cart,
Oh, I might
like
be mixing
in
up two
the
different books.
Fog of Night or something.
Okay.
I can't remember. But I read that one a few years ago, and it was very long, but I actually ended up really liking it.
All right.
And I'm not sure why. It was just something that it worked for me.
All right.
Next, I have an older paperback. I don't know if I can even find. Well, I don't even have to find the year. It has a cover that has a cutout in it.
Very VC Andrews.
Yeah, so I'm looking at a skull, but one of the eyes is cut out, and you can see a terrified-looking child. And then when you open the front flap, you see that it's a bunch of children being cooked in a cauldron by skeletons.
Those were the days. I miss a nicely like a painted cover.
Yeah,
They don't make them like that anymore.
I know. It's pretty amazing. Their hunger for the children was insatiable.
Nice.
I don't know why and also the skeletons seem to be having an excellent time.
They look very pleased.
They're like throwing their heads back, laughing.
Which is funny because a lot of this stew is going to be liquid and they have no place to put it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. What are they going to do?
It's just going to pour right through those
What
ribs.
do they eat and how?
Yeah.
And the last one is Elvira, Transylvania 90210, supposedly by Elvira with John Paragon. So this is kind of the first in a series. I don't actually know if they made any more of these or if this was the one and then they were like, well, okay. No. But it's by Elvira and John Paragon. And it's kind of a Maybe like Fear Street
Okay.
realm type of book.
I would like to start with Pen Pal.
Pen Pal?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hang on, I was just looking to see. Oh, yeah. Yep. Elvira was printed in 1996. So that was definitely a Goosebumps.
Sorry, I'm trying to hook up to the
Adjacent.
Wi-Fi because I was going to look and see if there are more Elvira books in the series.
It says in the front, which is a little weird, that Camp Vamp is coming in February of 1997. And this came in November 1996. So it seems like a good chance that there's a...
3 indeed were published.
Oh, okay.
Camp Vamp in 97 and The Boy Who Cried Werewolf in 98.
They have, this is a very 1996 website. They have, the World Wide Web site address is http://www.berkeley.com/Berkeley.
Oh, wow.
What?
I was like,
Why?
standard. Then I was like, ooh, that's really where they fell.
Berkeley.com/Berkeley. That makes no sense.
I mean, at least if it were like Random House /imprint,
Yeah.
that would make sense.
Yeah. But if it's like Berkeley.com/the same thing again, randomhouse.com/randomhouse.
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
Feels like we're just wasting
Who did
characters at
that?
this point.
I mean, they probably, I'm going to assume they got bamboozled. No one knew how websites work.
Yeah.
And so someone was like, I'll make you a website.
The fact that we were all writing down http:// it's like, yeah, okay.
It's always going to be that, everyone. You don't have to. Okay. All right. So Pen Pal is a book I actually read probably the first 30-ish pages of this book.
All right, question.
Yeah.
Why'd you stop?
Well, I don't know.
Okay.
I read the first 30 pages probably like a year or two ago.
Okay. But it wasn't like you were like, this is stinky and I'm out.
No, it was, here's what my memory of it was. It was the first section was about a kid who kind of, he would go to bed at night and he would wake up and he'd be like in the woods and he didn't know where he was. And so then he would go back home, but then he was having increasing difficulty getting back home. And like, it was kind of, it seemed in my memory like it was vague whether or not he was having trouble getting home because he's like further in the woods or if there's some kind of mystical thing happening.
Preventing him from finding his way.
Yeah, and there was something to do with like creepy trees and then like maybe some kind of animals in the woods and stuff. Like creepy things happening.
All right.
So it had a pretty strong start. I think the problem was I stopped reading it. Like there's a section break. And so then I stopped reading it. And then I was in that awkward phase where I was like, you need to pick it up again because you're not going to remember.
Yeah.
And then I was spent most of the time in the phase where I was like, I'm not going to remember, but I could probably read it anyway. And then I fell out of that and I was like, I'm not going to remember, but if I have to, I'll have to reread the start. But I will remember it as I'm rereading it.
Yeah.
I'll be like, okay, yeah. And then I'll have to do that, though, to get to where I was before.
Yeah.
But now it's probably been long enough that I could just start and it probably wouldn't be that. It wouldn't feel like as much of a rerun.
Right.
So I think I'm prepared for that. I read the other book, Bad Man. I really liked it. It was very creepy. I think the thing I liked about it least is that it was very long. And that wasn't bad, but I prefer books that are, I think 300 pages-ish is where I like when they top out.
That's your sweet spot.
Yeah. I mean, when I look at a book, and honestly, if I look at a book online and it says 125 pages, I'm like, I'm definitely reading that. Like, that's awesome.
You are a fan of brevity.
I do, yeah.
You like a succinct sentence.
Sometimes I feel like I always pick on this one book. I think it was called Boomtown, and it was about Oklahoma City. And like, I got the audiobook, so I didn't really pay attention. And then I realized how long it was. And then I was like, how long is this book? And I looked it up and, it's like 1,200 pages. And
Do
I
you
was
remember
like,
how long the audiobook was?
no, it was so long.
Can I tell you about the audiobook I just started?
Yeah.
I'm going to be reading it for the rest of my life. 66 hours.
Yeah, I mean, it's so long.
Yeah.
I did The Stand. And I did like I don't know what they call it, the director's cut or whatever, the extra long.
Right, the author's like special edition.
And it was great. Like, I really enjoyed it. But man, it was long.
Yeah. I've read it. I know.
It was a saga. So anyway, this one's quite a bit shorter. I also, part of the weirdness of this book, it has definitely very mixed reviews.
Okay.
But I think it would be fine for me, in as much as I think some people object to he's got a simple writing style, and it feels a little maybe self-published to some people, but that doesn't usually bother me. Also, I think this book has some sort of creepypasta origins.
Oh.
I think that may be where this author got his start, or their start. I assume it's a guy. I don't know.
I mean, hey, I'm a romance reader. A lot of fan fiction authors got their start through, fan fiction.
Yeah.
I won't knock it.
Yeah. Well, and it doesn't bother me as much because I feel like, well, I read a different book that he wrote that was good, and I don't know. And I'm like, I don't know, creepypasta was a thing. Like, that's the folk horror of 2010.
It's like fiction mixed with urban legends. Like, what's not to like?
Yeah, so I think that the main appeal of it is the creepiness, the vibes I was getting, as the kids would say. And probably the biggest downside is having to get through those first 30 or so pages again.
That's not so long.
I don't know what that'll be. No, that's not
so long.
Terrible.
That's like a half hour of reading. I think you're going to be fine.
Yep.
And also, I wouldn't worry too much about the mixed reviews, because I find that horror is weird with reviews.
It's true.
Because I think that people just find different things scary.
Yeah.
And that affects it. And I find that the professional reviews tend to skew very much toward literary horror. And I just don't think that that is necessarily useful.
That's a good point. Yeah, I agree. Like, it's weird to me sometimes when people review books or movies and they're like, I wasn't scared. Because I'm like, well, I don't know. Does that mean it wasn't good? Or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I watched this drama, but I didn't cry. It's like, okay, but I don't know.
I don't know. I guess, well, this is the thing that I always used to talk about when I was talking more about books is, I'm a romance reader and I'm a horror reader. And the thing they have in common is that they elicit an emotional response.
Right.
And that is something that I, as a reader, am looking for. It's why I go to these genres. So I guess if that's why you're there, saying like it didn't scare me would mean that it didn't do what you were looking for.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make it not good. It makes it a bad match.
Yeah. I think that's what I mean is like, because sometimes I'll watch a movie or read a book and just be like, it didn't do anything for me, but I see why people like this,
right.
Or I get, it just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
Wasn't my thing. So that's Pen Pal.
All right, Pen Pal. Option 1.
Okay. Ghost Business.
You're never going to get over that title.
I don't know why. That just makes me laugh. Oh, boy. I think I want to hear about Lighthouse at the Edge of the World.
All right.
By J.R. Dawson.
J.R. Dawson. So I picked this up because I read a review of it that said it would be a good option for fans of Hadestown, which is my favorite musical. And as I'm reading it, I also think that it could potentially work for people, who loved This Is How You Lose the Time War.
Oh, okay.
Which I adore. I think it's a brilliant book. I love it a lot. And I don't want to say this is a read-alike. They're very different books, but it has a similar vibe. I don't know. Can't explain it. But so basically, It opens with the main character whose name is Nira, and she is the lighthouse keeper's daughter. And he has been doing this basically since the Chicago fire. So you come to learn that when the Chicago fire happened, it was started by like a demon.
Okay.
And he used the lighthouse, and like the lighthouse is kind of, it's like powered in some way by him to, the light shines out and it protects, the people, the souls, the people who have died. Like they can't be touched by the, I forget what they call the haunts, which are like, it sounds like people who have died who have then been touched by this negative force that's like trapped in some water tower that I guess is very famous.
Oh, sure.
You know Chicago.
Yeah.
What is, it's just called the water. Okay.
I think it's just, Water Tower Place. I think that's like a thing.
So I guess it's trapped in there and it wants out, and like its influence can like turn dead people into haunts.
Okay.
So then you have this, the second character, Charlie. She recently lost her sister suddenly to a car accident and is very entrenched in grief. Like she's very stuck. So when her sister died in the hospital, something happened to Charlie, and all of a sudden she could see dead people walking around. And people think that she's experiencing some kind of grief-induced psychosis.
Oh, okay.
But she actually can see dead people.
Does she think she's seeing dead people, or that
she does?
Okay.
Yeah, she can even like interact with them. She can talk to them.
I see.
Occasionally, one will notice that she can see them and walk over and say, "Would you tell my daughter that like I'm here or whatever?" And she'll do it, although she always is like, people are going to think I'm even crazier. It never works
out. Yeah. Everyone's like, all right,
weirdo. So she thinks that she must have this ability so that she can find her sister, who has died, and somehow get like closure. So she's been just like searching the city. Her dad is not well. Like he is even more entrenched in grief than she is. He's like barely taking care of himself. He relies on her to basically keep him alive. And like this has become her like mission, is to somehow locate the soul of her sister.
And that'll fix everything.
Or at least make it better.
Right.
Somehow. So she's wandering the city. Her sister was a very famous composer, musician. And she hears this line of music being like hummed by a dog, because it turns out dogs are like shepherds of souls. So they can see the living and the dead, and they can lead the dead to the lighthouse. And so they're just walking around the city, and acting like dogs, but if they see a dead person, they can help them get to the lighthouse. So this dog sees that she can like see him, and so offers help, and she's like, this dog just talked to me, and then he's like, oops, this is not a dead person, and so like runs off. So she's chasing this dog and hears her sister's song coming from underneath a bridge in a park. And she like goes under the bridge, and all of a sudden she's in the station, which is where the lighthouse is, and also where the ferry takes the souls to the next world, through the veil, whatever you want to call it. And she makes a bargain with the lighthouse keeper and his daughter that she will, because her sister's piano is there, and she takes this as evidence that her sister must have been here. So she says, if you will help me find my sister's soul, or at least figure out what happened to her, I will come and play music. Because when she played her sister's piano, the light of the lighthouse, which has been faltering, blazed forth like a full-on sun. So she's like, I'll bolster the lighthouse and help keep the haunts away, by playing the piano, if you will help me figure out what happened to my sister. And so it's like this world. You have Nira, whose father is the one who kind of built the lighthouse, but he also seems to have kind of lost his way. He never looks at the souls. He doesn't know their names. He doesn't interact with them. And as she starts to do that, she finds that it affects like the way she sees the world, the way the lighthouse works. And she feels like when he stopped doing that, that is what started the lighthouse faltering.
Oh.
So you get the sense, like I said, I'm not done with it, but I get the sense that Charlie and Nira are going to have some sort of connection, possibly romantic.
Okay.
But also Neera's like fate is to run the lighthouse, and that is not a place for the living.
Right.
So I don't know. But it's a really intricately written world that follows this kind of tropey story of like the descent into the underworld to find a loved one and hopefully bring them back, or, find some sort of resolution, which is where I think the Hadestown comparison comes in. And the way that it's written and this feeling of like mission is what makes me feel like I'm reading something similar to This Is How You Lose the Time War, with that little hint of like a romantic relationship that is a little bit star-crossed. But I don't know. I think it's going to be one of these hidden treasures where people who find it are going to be like, what a special book.
Where did this come from?
Yeah. And it's not, I don't know. I'm not sure. I believe it's going to find a huge audience, but I think it deserves to.
Okay.
So I hope that people will try it, because I think it's a weird book, but it's like a little treasure.
Do you think like it's one of those? I'm trying to think. I read one, The Library at Mount Char.
I haven't read it.
That kind of reminded me of a little bit. It's got like weird mysticism happening, but it's happening in our world.
Yeah.
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 I mean, I liked that one, and I was like, where did this come from? Like, what is this?
This happens. I do, honestly, I should say, I feel like This Is How You Lose the Time War, I would have said would be the same. That one did find a bit of a cult audience, and it has like an enduring audience.
Is that like a book talk thing?
I don't think so.
Okay.
It's co-written by a couple of authors who are pretty critically acclaimed.
Oh, okay.
And I think that might have helped bolster its audience, because it had a little bit of recognizability with the authors' names.
Gotcha.
Peter, it's so good. You should read it. And it's not long. It's like,
oh, see?
Yeah.
Now you know.
Yeah, I have the unlock.
Now we're talking my language.
Yeah. It's really, really good. You should read it. I think you would find it weird and kind of great.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And this one has the same vibes.
I'll put it on the list.
All right.
How You Lose the Time War.
This Is How You Lose the Time War. It's got two authors, so. And like
This is how you lose
two birds
it.
on the cover. It's so good. Everyone should read it. It's so good.
It is funny. Like, yeah, sometimes I feel like books do this a lot more than movies and stuff too, where it's like you just get into a book and you're like, this is so different from anything I've really experienced, but not in like a bad way.
Yeah.
It just feels like this is when I see a movie and I'm watching a movie that I describe as like, this feels like it was made by someone who's familiar with the concept of movies but has never actually seen one, that's usually bad. But when I read a book by someone and it's like, this seems like someone who's kind of familiar with book tropes, but actually not familiar with books or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. It can be very interesting sometimes.
I have a movie example for something that I think encapsulates that like newness and weirdness, but greatness. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
Yeah. It did feel very strange.
Yeah. Where it's like, this is not like anything I've ever seen, but also it works.
Yeah.
Somehow it works.
I found a lot of it has to do with like competent people who care about the story they're trying to tell.
Yeah.
That seems to be
absolutely.
I was going to say that's like the magic formula, but I'm like, I mean, it's not really that magical. It's just like these people, they know how to focus a camera and make it sound so you can understand what people are saying.
Right.
And they had at least one idea.
Yeah. They care about the story and they want it to be good.
Yeah.
And they have the skills to make it happen.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds cool. I like to imagine there's an audiobook for this Lighthouse at the Edge of the World that is read by someone with a thick Chicago accent.
Oh. Well,
my family is all from Chicago, and like I remember in the early days of podcasting, I listened to a couple podcasts that came from Chicago. I didn't even really care about the content. It was just nice to hear that accent. Not that I'm saying it's music to my ears.
Give me your Chicago. I want to hear Chicago.
I always try to think of something my uncle would say because he has like, it's so funny because they all grew up together.
Is
my
he the
mom
DeBears guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds like, when I do an impression of him, like I'm doing, the Bears. Oh, so good. Go down to the lakefront. You want to go to the Taste? Like he was always go to the Taste, go down to the park, go for a drive, Lakeshore Drive. Like he just, he has a very thick Chicago accent. It's very, very endearing.
Yeah. I have a similar kind of mixed affection for that Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Because, a lot of Scandinavians ended up in Wisconsin, and take the boat out.
Want to go see a ghost?
We're going to take the boat out. It's the pontoon.
All right.
So
We got 3 books for you to choose from.
I know. I think I have to go with Feast because I have extreme nostalgia for that style of physical object.
All right. So I ended up getting this book. This was actually not easy to find. Mm-hmm. And what I gathered was it was kind of one of those books that in its time, let me see if I can find the...
Did you hear about it from that paperback?
1985, Paperbacks from Hell.
That's the one.
I sure did.
All right.
Paperbacks from Hell is a really cool book for 1988 by Grady Hendrix. Mm-hmm. And basically he apparently has a great affection for horror paperbacks, I would say going from the late 70s-ish to mid-90s probably. And, just all the wildest stuff, like some of the things you read. I read one from that is one of the most amazing things I've ever read. And now I'm trying to remember what it's called.
Is this the one with dolls?
Yes.
I remember you reading that.
Toy Cemetery. It's called Toy Cemetery. It's by William Johnstone, who I think got mostly famous for writing Westerns.
We still have them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he also, he wrote this book that, how it's kind of a famous story that Stephen King is like, I did so much cocaine, I don't even remember writing Cujo. I'm like, I hope that that's how this book was made because that's the only thing that makes any sense. I mean, it is bizarre. It's like there's different factions of dolls and toys that are coming to life. There's a fog that rolls into town that causes people to try and get busy with their own relatives. There's so much happening. And there's a part where somehow someone accidentally travels back in time to the 20s and is being menaced in the 20s, and he manages to make time go back to its proper order by shooting a clock, and that fixes time. I mean,
sure.
There's a part where someone's in a hospital, and there's maybe a giant demon in the basement of the hospital. There's so much happening, and none of it makes any sense.
So is this the kind of experience you're hoping for with this one?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Here's my thinking. I think this one's more competent. Now, I think, because Toy Cemetery is more fun to talk about than it is to read.
Right.
But it's very short, and there's just so much going on. I gathered that this one was kind of a minor phenomenon in its time. Mm-hmm. And it feels like a thing that used to happen, where it's a, not famous author or whatever would put out a book like this that, I'm going to unkindly briefly call a trashy paperback. And it would kind of catch fire a little bit, and become something. What's the other one I'm thinking of? Burnt Offerings, I think, is one that kind of was in that realm. Maybe it would get made into a TV movie or something like that. So that's kind of what attracted me to this. It was featured in Paperbacks from Hell, and he was saying that it was actually one of the better ones. He's like, it somehow hasn't risen to the level of a Stephen King or something like that, but it's also not, the one where on the cover is a crab holding a knife. And you're like, a crab is going to menace me with a knife, I guess? Or the one about Nazi gnomes or something like that. You're like, that's a real thing.
I need a 2-second pause.
Okay.
My brother's dog had his birthday this summer, and I got him a squeaky toy that looks like a bloody knife. And when I went over last month for my brother's birthday, the dog came running up to me holding it, and it was the moment that I had been hoping for when I bought it. So.
Like, this is exactly why I bought this. So anyway, I think it involves cannibalism. I think it is a book that is never on the rails to begin with, so it's off the rails the whole time.
All right.
In that it never began on the rails and never attempted to be on the rails.
Right. It stomped on that accelerator and was like, where we end up?
Yeah.
Who knows?
So it's a little mysterious and opaque to me, but it's very enticing in its possibilities for like bringing back to this and being like, I read a thing and here's what happened.
Right. Worst case scenario, you have a really great book to talk about.
And it was a little bit of a hunt to get it.
Yeah.
I think I ended up having to get it online, and it was because you can find copies online and stuff, of course, but they're like too expensive.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't say it's rare. I think it's also one that does not have a digital version, I believe. Mm-hmm. I think that's the case with actually probably all 4 of these books is there's no digital version, which does seem to affect the price these days.
Yeah.
So that's Feast.
Okay.
By Graham Masterton.
All right. Well, let's see. I'm going to go through the 2 that I didn't talk about.
Okay.
So the first is Tales from the Cafe by Toshikazu Kawaguchi. This is basically a continuation of Before the Coffee Gets Cold. It even references the stories that you read in Before the Coffee Gets Cold. And it like I said, is part of that whole new trend that they're calling healing fiction, where the purpose of it is not necessarily to tell a cozy, easy story, but to provide you characters who maybe have experienced something difficult, grief, loss, tragedy, abandonment, whatever, and have been able to approach it in such a way that they come out of it the other side, feeling at peace in some way or ready to move forward. It's, I don't know. I don't know where this stands in like the list of where this subgenre got started, but I think that it's one of the earlier ones that came out of Japan, at least that got translated. And they're lovely. They're comforting. It's this cafe where it's possible, if you follow all of the very specific rules, to return to the past for as long as your coffee is warm. So not for long, but long enough to maybe have a conversation. And so people go back for their own reasons to, visit a loved one that has died, or to, give someone a gift when you lost the opportunity to do it, or to pass on a piece of information, make sure someone's okay. Any number of reasons that people go back in time, and one of the rules is it won't change anything in the present. Like you can't go to the past and warn someone that they're going to be in a car accident and then they'll be able to avoid it. Like that doesn't work.
Prevent your parents from meeting and then you start to disappear.
Exactly. It doesn't work that way. But the way that it works, it's like the people who go back, they don't change their circumstances. It's like they change the way they feel about their circumstances or the way that they think about them. It's very nice. Very cozy read as we move into like cold days, long nights. This is a lovely book that I can anticipate like curling up with a warm drink or a bowl of soup and just like getting cozy.
Cold weekend evening.
Yeah.
Kind of. Okay.
Yeah. Warm up your heart while you eat a warm meal and, have a cozy night.
And as I remember the other one, it's kind of like what do you call those? Like a quilt thing where it's multiple sort of different not necessarily connected stories,
Right.
but they're happening at the cafe. And,
Sometimes they're connected.
Okay.
Sometimes they're not. The whole thing is held together. You get consistent characters because you get the owner of the cafe and the woman who pours the coffee. Turns out she's rather significant to the whole process. Like not just anyone can pour the coffee.
Oh.
And the owner's daughter, and there are some regular customers. The people who travel to the past, it only works if they're meeting someone who has been in the cafe in the past. So like I couldn't go to Japan and travel to the past and see my mom, like, because she's never been to that cafe.
Oh, okay.
So there is this like
a
continuity.
limited scope.
Exactly.
Okay.
The people who are involved in these stories all have the cafe in common to a greater or a lesser degree. Okay. Sometimes a very great degree. Like in the last book, the cafe owner's wife was one of the travelers.
Okay.
And sometimes, like in this one, it was a gentleman who was supposed to meet his wife for coffee and had to miss it for work. And like that was the only time he knew of that she was there. So they don't really have like a strong connection to the cafe, but there is a connection.
There's something.
Exactly.
I think that's smart if you're going to do a time travel story, just because, that gets rid of the stuff of like, well, I'm going to go see Winston Churchill, you know what I mean? And you're like, yeah,
I'm going to go kill Hitler and avoid the Holocaust.
Yeah, and you're like, I mean, okay, sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very, very specific. You're only back for, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 minutes max. You can't get up off of the chair or you'll immediately be snapped back to the present. You can only meet people who have been in the cafe before. There are very specific rules.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah. So that's that one. It was lovely. It was exactly what I thought it would be because I read the first one. So
you were prepared.
It was more of the same.
Would you say you could read the second one without reading the first one, or would that not be recommended?
I think you could. I do think that you would probably have a more enjoyable experience if you read them in order.
Okay.
Just because some of the stories in the second volume reference stories from the first.
Okay.
So you'll have, I don't know, an increased appreciation for the situations if you know what happened in the first book.
Gotcha. So not absolutely necessary, but probably better.
Probably better.
Okay.
Yeah. Then I have Mastering the Art of French Eating by Anne Ma. And this is just her memoir. Like I said, she was a newlywed. I think they'd been married for maybe a couple of years and had been they lived briefly in Washington, D.C. and also in Beijing. And so they're newlywed. He works as a diplomat. It's difficult to be an American wife of a diplomat living abroad because there are expectations like you're not really encouraged to work outside the home because of your position in diplomacy. Like it can open you up to, accusations of corruption or influence.
Oh, sure.
So you don't generally, go work at like the local restaurant or, whatever. She was working as a journalist. She'd been a book editor, so she was able to do some like freelance writing and that kind of thing. But she, you do feel like an appendage to your spouse's life a little bit in this life, it sounds like. So she was writing about, being a newlywed and they're deeply in love and they'd been living in these two places. And one of the things that they always wanted to do together, because he had done some study in France and she had visited a couple of times in her youth. They both loved it. She loves food, loves to write about food, loves to cook. And so they're like, it would be so great if we could get Paris and we could just like live in Paris in 2 years and eat and write about food and cook and all. It would be wonderful. And they actually managed to get the appointment. But they had been there, I don't know, a few months when they found out he was being reassigned to Baghdad. And because of the situation in Baghdad, she could not go.
Right.
Like spouses and families are not allowed,
okay,
at the embassy in Baghdad for reasons that I think make sense.
Yeah.
So she had, first of all, the stress of knowing that her husband was going to be working as a diplomat in a war zone.
Sure.
Which was not, the best news.
Yeah.
And also knowing that they were going to be separated for a year while he was on assignment. He would get a couple of like 2-week vacations where he could come back and visit and stay. But she would be living in this new apartment in this neighborhood she didn't know, in a city she wasn't, familiar with a language that she had just learned through French immersion course.
Right.
So she could speak it passably, but she was, not perfect, not fully fluent.
Yeah.
And there were benefits because they were extending his French assignment, after. So they would still get their full 2 years in Paris. She would essentially get 3.
Okay.
So, there were benefits, but it was very difficult.
Yeah.
So she writes about how she got through this whole period of her life with varying degrees of success, because she does talk about just falling into a little bit of ennui, and she just stays in her apartment and isolates and is sad. And her husband worries and is like, you need to get out. You need to do something. Why don't you go to Burgundy and research this one kind of food? And she talks about how food is ultimately what kind of got her involved in life in France. And each chapter is about a different national French dish of note, and how she researched it, the different ways that she ate it, how to prepare it, what it means, its history, its place in French culture. So if you like food, it's fun to read. There's a soupe à pistou, which is basically the French pistou is French pesto. And there's this summer vegetable soup made with pistou pesto, and it sounds amazing, and I would like to try it. And so she has all of the recipes, and she talks about traveling in France and also eating in France and also her life. So you get a lot of different kinds of memoir, and it was delightful. And I think it's well worth a read if you like traveling or food or both.
It's kind of, a combination of travel memoir, food memoir,
and marriage, relationship story.
Memoir. Yeah. That's a lot going on.
Yeah.
Cool.
It was good.
All right. The other 2 I didn't talk about very quickly. Elvira, Transylvania 90210, a book you can really sink your teeth into. Do you think it's easy being a glamour ghoul? Think again. Okay. Part of me wants to read this as a lark, and I think it might be fun in some way, and also just probably it could be fun on a level of it might actually be
not horrible. Yeah.
I read Cassandra Peterson, Elvira's memoir, and it was pretty good.
She's funny.
She's funny. And that's kind of the other side of it, though, is she's funny, and sometimes I'm her density of jokes is too much for me sometimes, because a lot of them are puns.
Oh, ow. Right in the heart.
It's not that, it's just too many puns, in a row. I'm I need something else. I need a different kind of joke. You know what I mean? Or a different kind of, I don't know. It's I get pun fatigue. I always compare it to I had this book when I was younger, and it was a bunch of the front pages of The Onion. Mm-hmm. And you'd read a headline, it's ah, ha, 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 and you're enjoying it. But then you get halfway in, and you're not laughing anymore. It just that becomes the new baseline. And so sometimes with Elvira, I have that relationship where it's well, the joke density is so high that just becomes the baseline. Right. So then it's not funny anymore because it's all jokes.
Right.
And it's not, there's no, although I do like the movie Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. It's pretty good. I feel it's a weird, it's if you were a goth girl in high school, that's your Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
They have a very similar sort of feel for me to them. And there's some crossover there. But anyway, that's kind of my plus minus with that one.
Okay.
I mean, it's also interesting to me just to look at sort of Goosebumps adjacent things. And,
right, pop culture or moments that we don't get anymore.
Yeah, I mean, they don't make this kind of thing anymore. Yeah. You don't really get, I don't even know what a vague equivalent of this would be. I don't know, a horror host.
Taylor Swift teen mystery novel series or whatever.
Yeah, like if it was Taylor Swift solving a mystery or something. Yeah. And it was written by Taylor Swift with someone else, and you're like, was that you with someone or was that someone with you? You know?
I think we all know it was like a singular plot planning meeting followed by the ghostwriter writing everything else.
That's what I always assume.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think it could be interesting on that level too.
Okay.
The other one is Beware the Shopping Mall by Betsy Haynes. So I've read like the first, I didn't want to like overshoot it, but like probably 15 pages of it. A new shopping mall is opening wherever this is. Wonderland Mall. And some teens are sneaking in early, and then creepy stuff starts happening.
Okay.
So the main appeal of this is I'm like, oh, it's kind of fun because it's like remembering when people were excited about a mall.
Yeah.
And like an indoor shopping mall was great. And also like.
Are you old enough to really remember mall, like the mall scene?
For sure.
Yeah, that was a good time.
It was very fun to go to the mall. Like, I don't know. I lament the loss of the indoor mall. Mm-hmm. I think Colorado made a huge mistake in going to being like, let's have outdoor malls.
Promenade.
Yeah, and I'm like, it's too cold here. And when it's not cold, it's too hot here.
Yeah.
And there's an outdoor mall near here called Centera. And I hate it because it's basically like the entire time you're there, you're walking through a parking lot.
Yeah.
And I'm like, guys, you make the parking on the perimeter, not all the way through.
Yeah.
And then you can't even really walk across it without just walking through a giant parking lot. And I'm like, nobody wants to walk through a parking lot.
I do think it did what they really intended, though, which was get rid of loitering. Yeah. Because I think that's what...
The downfall of the mall.
Yeah. Was, all of us teens who had nowhere else to go could go and spend, $2 on a pretzel.
Yes.
And be inside all day, hanging out with our friends. And I think we became a bit of a nuisance.
Yeah, I mean, I get that because, like, that's what's funny is remembering going to the mall, I would take the bus to the mall and then I'd be there and I had no money. Mm-hmm. And it's like, what are you doing there? Yeah. And you're like, well, you just look at the same things you always look at. You look at the pet store. You see if they got any new games at the arcade. Mm-hmm. Maybe I would have 50 cents to play a game. Or I could be like, I could walk home and play Carnival for 45 seconds. And that would be a really dumb decision that I made many times.
Yeah. And it's just not fun to do at a promenade, like an outdoor mall.
No.
Like, you can't
because
really
you got to go into the actual store and then you're like, eh.
Yeah, and if you're not in an actual store, you're outside in the heat and or rain and or snow.
Yeah, and it's just like everybody's in their cars and I don't know. It's just not.
Yeah, it's not the same.
I don't find it pleasant.
Same.
And
But I also don't go to indoor malls.
I have been to the Greeley Mall a few times just because morbid curiosity, I would call it.
I have been at the mall to see a movie.
Yeah.
But I have not gone into the mall.
It's a little sad.
Yeah.
That's like one of my eccentric millionaire things is I'd be like, I'll bring it back.
Well, there have been all sorts of plans to like make malls with like residences on the upper story. I was like, that I can see the appeal in that. If you could get like a job in that area, and then also if there were like grocery store and a clothing store and a movie theater, like you could really just live in one place and only leave for special things like that.
Yeah.
Kind of appealing for me.
It is interesting to go into like a, dying mall just to see the businesses that are in there. Like somehow, I don't understand how Spencer Gifts works. I don't understand how the Greeley Mall back in the day when it was thriving had like 4 diamond stores, which is bizarre to me. Like,
I think
how
a lot
many
of that's
diamond
where
stores?
your average person goes to get an engagement ring.
Oh, for sure.
So I think that's how they stay open.
I get that, but I'm like, I can't believe they could sustain 4, which I guess they couldn't because they're all closed. But anyway, that's the plus of this. The minus of it is I read a different bone chiller and it was real bad.
Okay.
It was like one of those stories where there's a ghost and the ghost wants a vague thing that it can't communicate to anyone for some reason. until it can, and then it communicates it to them, and then they do that thing, and then that's the end.
Okay.
And you're like, okay, amazing.
All right, so do you want me to tell you which one I think you should read?
Yeah.
I think you should read Feast.
Feast? Mm-hmm. Okay. It does just even looking at it light up something in my brain that,
Well, and I think that I know that you're an actual spooky season kind of guy. Like you'd like the spooks.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like it's probably potentially going to be one of the spookiest reads.
Yeah.
Also, I know that you're intrigued in beyond just like it would be like a ha-ha. It would be a giggle to read.
Yeah.
So that's why I think you should start there.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a good choice for me. I feel like this one has the highest probability of being both spooky and a little stupid.
Right.
And I think that's probably, that's my home spot. That's where I'm comfortable.
That's your area of enjoyment.
Yeah.
Something to poke fun at while also maybe getting actual enjoyment.
Yeah. A little stupid, a little scary.
Yeah.
All right. We did it.
Yay.
Thank you for the recommendation. Well, hopefully I'll have it done next time, and then
you can report
I
back.
can tell you. I can be like, you ruined my life. Or you made the right choice.
Yeah. Well, fingers crossed.
All right. We'll see you next time.
Bye.